Welcome back to ByteSized Talks. My name is Gary, aka Hempy, and today Leona will be leading us through I think it's like a weird ghost slash alien slash mystery story. We'll get into it. With us, of course, is Julian. Say what's up, man.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Julian or Juke, and telling us the story today is Leona.
Hey there, Leona here, and I'm so excited to tell you about this really spooky story. I've read it several times, and I've told other people about it, and they said that shit is pretty creepy. And I can't wait to see what you guys think, if you think it's creepy. It's really hard to tell if it's real or not. I got it off Reddit, and it's a subreddit group called True Scary Stories. So according to them, it's a true story, and it's hard to tell if it's true or not because it could happen. It is pretty creepy and very paranormal. I'm gonna click into that. So this story happened a while ago, but it got posted recently, and it happens to be in the suburbs of southeast Melbourne in Australia, in a place called Noble Park. Something terrifying happened to this 18-year-old. In an old 70s brick home of Alpine-style weatherboard with a steep roof built from the early 20th century. Old, cold, and noisy, you could see the ground through the floorboards. They had a big dog that spent most of its time outdoors until the evening when it joined their indoor cat. One night, all alone, with the parents gone, walking home from work, they spot a figure standing in the carport roof, peering through the window into the upstairs bedrooms. It was hard to see beyond the silhouette with the sun while the sun was setting. Yelling at it from the driveway made it disappear, thinking it odd that the dog didn't react as they were walking inside the house. With everything looking normal inside, it was safe to assume that the eyes were just playing tricks by the possible shadows from a tree branch in the sunset. The next night, while walking home, everything seemed normal. After inspecting all the windows and doors in the house, they and the dog went to sleep. In the middle of the night, they were awoken by something. Looking around while regaining focus from disrupted sleep, the hallway light was shining in from under the door. Must have missed one of the lights before going to sleep, they thought. But then, all of a sudden, the doorknob started rattling, like someone was struggling to open it. Terrified, they laid back down, facing away from the door, with their eyes shut and their heart beating really fast. The sound of the door opening was heard. Laying very still, pretending to be asleep, hoping if they were robbers, they would just take what they want and leave. With one eye open and their heart racing, they watched the reflection of the hallway light on the wall. The bedroom door was wide open. The clock on the CD player read 2 a.m. The door creaks as the light fades from the wall. Convinced that the robbers were there, they continued to stay really still in the bed, trying to hear if anything else was happening beyond their pounding heart. But there was nothing. No footsteps, no breathing, nothing. The blanket around the feet tightened, and the pressure formed like someone was sitting at the end of the bed. The clock read 3 a.m. They were frozen in terror, unsure of what the situation was at hand, so they decided to slowly move one foot to see if something happened. The foot's path got obstructed by something solid in the way. Someone was definitely sitting on the bed. Incapable of any further decision-making, they continued to lay still, watching the clock and the bedroom wall. Suddenly, it's 6 a.m., and the birds are chirping. The room is brighter. Shortly after, the pressure from the end of the bed lifts. The sound of the door can be heard again, and the hallway light can be seen on the wall again. Then the door shuts. Sometime later, courage was found enough to come out of the bed and investigate the house. All the doors and the windows were still locked. Nothing was missing, and the dog slept through the whole thing. The cat was stuck in the bathroom, probably from following them doing their nightly routine before bed. That night in Noble Park would be never forgotten.
All
What do you
right.
guys think of that?
So
Was the dog named Courage?
No, they found the person found courage to get out of the bed.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen that episode before.
That's a really good show.
yeah. So they saw this figure on top of their carport, and they're like, okay, was that something? They weren't really sure. And then the following night is when they felt something sitting on their bed, right?
Yeah. And the lights coming on and off, and the door opening and closing.
Dude,
Yeah.
have you guys ever had that experience where you feel like you're awake but you can't move?
Yeah, I've definitely had like that sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis,
feeling.
yeah. In Spanish, it's called when the dead man is on you. So, cuando se te sube el muerto,
Mm.
right?
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah,
That's
it's
creepy.
basically when a dead man is on top of you so you can't move. There was one time when Gary and I were roommates. We actually had talked about that night where about sleep paralysis or something. He's like, I don't usually get it. And that same night, I felt like Gary was at his door because our rooms were like their doors were facing each other. And I felt like Gary was at his door and I was like sleeping and my head was like facing my door. And in my head, I'm like, fucking Gary, wake me up. I can't move. And he was just like staring at me like the entire time. I was like, Gary, hurry up.
It's so creepy. I've never had that happen to me, but I've heard of a lot of people having that problem. I
Yeah.
wonder if this was, I mean, like, this is in like a suburbs of Australia, so anything is really possible there. But um I think that it could be a mixture between sleep paralysis and also like a vivid dream. So they're like half asleep and half awake.
Yeah, I mean, I know a number of people who have reported like a sleep paralysis thing, and they've and I've had that to where like you felt somebody was on the bed with you.
Yeah.
Um, like I know I think the time Julian's referring that we were talking about, like I was sleeping and I felt like somebody was right next to me, and I was trying to like I wanted to turn around to like kind of elbow him, and I couldn't, and I couldn't move. Then all of a sudden, like I just kind of snapped out of it. And I was like, I threw a mean old elbow, and like nobody was there, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, um, now my brother, I heard, what also threw me off, like during my experience, I heard a noise which it doesn't make sense, but I said it the way I described it to people, like to me, it'd be like the sound, like if you could bend a glass and it was like screeching and like it was like a metallic, just a weird like it was just this weird like metallic scream sort of a deal. And when I explained it to my brother, my oldest brother, he's there was a time where he was like he had some stuff happen to him, uh, but his stuff was a little bit more concrete. We could get into it, but he's like, yeah, it sounds like you might have had like an out of body experience, and your soul is having a hard time like entering back.
Oh, lucid dreaming, what they call it?
Not lucid dreaming, but like it's I think it kind of goes into the realm of astral projection.
Oh, yeah.
Because like some people like they say they can leave their body, see their body, and like they'll go take off and fly around the city, or whatever. But they say sometimes when you go back to enter your body, something else already entered it.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, you might have just had like a hard time and like coming back to your body. And mind you, my brother Dave's pretty square.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
I've
like
met
he's
him.
like super into this stuff. Um, but he had experiences. 'Cause we have one cousin. His name's Danny, who was really into weird shit as a kid. And I know my brother Dave, like the first time he got freaked out by Danny, he was over at that cousin's house for a sleepover. My cousin Danny's like, hey, Dave, do you want to see my friend? What was his name? Johnny. It's like, do you want to see Johnny shake the tree? My brother Dave's like, yeah, okay, let's see Johnny shake the tree. So they walked over to the window and said, all right, Johnny, go shake the tree. My brother said there was a tree sitting there that was still, completely still, but the shadow was going crazy.
Oh, shut the fuck up, dude.
And Danny was one of these guys, dude. He would see a chick and be like, "Oh, so when are you expected?" And she's like, "I barely figured out I was pregnant yesterday. I
Oh,
haven't told
shit.
anybody." he always knew you had something good or bad. Like he had like a sixth sense when it came to this stuff. So like my brother David, for a time, he felt like something was messing with him. He was 16, 17 years old. He felt things like somebody sitting at the edge of the bed, and he was living with my grandma. My grandma could barely walk, but he'd hear footsteps just up and down
Oh
the hallway at
shit.
night. So yeah, he was getting like, what the fuck, like, um, and my cousin Danny runs. He's like, hey, so Dave, what's going on with you? He's like, no, I'm cool, man. He's like, no, like, what's up, dude? Like, let's talk, like, for real. He's like, what's going on with you? Uh, he goes, nah. He's like, nah, I'm just having my name. I was like, no, Dave, stop bullshitting. Like, I know Johnny told me to ask you, like, what's up? All right, man. So he starts telling him like how he can't sleep. He's been feeling something lying next to him. And my cousin Danny's like, yeah, demons like latched onto you.
What the
He
fuck?
sees you as someone who's really smart and very persuasive, and he wants to use you, to, like, you know, and he's trying to like take over you. He's like, did you ever mess around with Ouija boards or stuff as a kid? He's like, yeah, like one time, like, will it rain money from the sky? Will I be rich? So yeah, that opened up a doorway, and like that's why this thing's like kind of latched onto you. You need to go ask it what it wants from you, and then tell it to leave you alone. And my brother Dave went, and like the next time the shit was happening, he did that, and like the thing finally stopped fucking with him. Um, but yeah, my like whenever it comes to this, like more spiritual stuff, I'll go to my brother Dave because he's had some weird experiences
Now
with
the
ghosts or the paranormal.
the skeptic in me wants to say like could it be schizophrenia, right? But at the same time, like how is he gonna know that girl is pregnant when she just found out like the day before?
Yeah. And he's also one of these guys. Like he told my brother Dave, it's like, Dave, the reason this demon wants you is like your aura is so bright and crisp. Like I could see some people's that it's kind of has a glow to them, but yours, it's a perfect outline around you. Like it's powerful, and that's why this thing chose you.
It's fucking creepy as shit.
Yeah.
I once had I was once laying in bed and I heard a whole conversation between two women in the hallway right outside the door. And I got out of my bed and I'm like who's talking? And I came out and there was no one in the house.
uh, I've known so many people who had like a ghost story. Like there's this girl I went to high school with. She had a story where she'd tell her mom like, "Oh, can I play with the little girl in the little blue dress?"
Oh shit.
And her mom's like, "What are you talking about? Like, she's in my room, and she said she wants to play, and I wanted to come ask you if I could play with her." The mom like got freaked out. She started doing homework, and like I guess like the 40s or 50s in that house, a little girl had passed away, and like when they
Oh
found
shit.
pictures, they were able to find a picture of her and like in a little blue dress.
Oh shit.
And I was like, "That's the girl. That's the one who wants to play." Like, and there's as a scientist, it's hard to buy into that, but I don't know. There feels like there has to be something to some
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
This is why I don't live in the suburbs and in old houses.
Well, I actually
I
saw
don't need that happening to me.
I saw Instagram where this guy, like, I guess he records himself as an Uber driver, and he was a big guy, but he said he was a medium.
You're a fucking idiot. I swear to God.
Uh, but he like some lady gets in the car and he's like, after he drives, he's like, I'm sorry, I gotta end this ride. He's like, I'm a medium, and like when you got into the car, like it felt like 200 souls came in with you. Like
Oh shit.
it's so like this is so overwhelming for me as a medium. Like she's like, oh, that's probably because I'm a mortician.
No shit.
So it's
That's
like
yeah.
she's like, oh yeah, I understand that. That's not a problem. Like so she was willing to get out of the car, and the guy was like, dude, that was intense.
Dude,
Um,
something creepy that happened here recently. Not really paranormal, but it was a family that was living like in a trailer home, just a trailer park,
mhm.
and they were in a trailer home. They had like a literal yard area and all that. Um, they actually found a was it an infant? They found an infant buried in their backyard. So they had to call the cops. They had to do an investigation, and it seems like one of the families that lived before is probably the ones that buried the infant in their backyard. But can you imagine finding that, like an infant just buried in your backyard?
That's terrible.
Yeah.
I guess it must have like died from. I mean, infants can die from anything, really.
Well, one, they could have died. They could also just suffocated it, beat it, something, whatever it was. But yeah, it was just buried in the backyard. And they say the grave was really shallow, so they didn't even dig deep.
This is why abortion should be legal.
I think it has to do more than the abortion. It could have been like an abusive
I mean, a lot of
family.
people, if you can't get an abortion, they just end up having it and then killing it. Like, you really want that?
That or the dad could have been abusive. Whatever it was, it's still just creepy just to find it in your backyard.
Do you guys get creeped out like your first night sleeping in a new house?
Oh yeah, there's always like new sounds and smells, and you're like, what is that?
Dude, I sleep like a rock everywhere. Nothing can wake me up. Ask Gary. My alarm would go off for like 20 minutes. I would not wake up.
Yep. I used to wake up Julian
Clear
because his alarm would go off and it would wake me up. Then I had to go wake him up. But it was funny. We got a roommate and he was like, man, one of you guys, your alarm just keeps going off and like it goes off for a while. And
it was only us three.
It's only three of us, right? It was me, Julian, and Toby. I was like, "Hi, Toby, it might be me." Sometimes no, Gary, it's definitely not you.
But somebody,
it's not you. But somebody. The alarm keeps going off. And I was like, "Dude, just call out Julian."
Yeah.
No.
I think you need to switch your ringtone.
It's just a lot of times it just doesn't help.
You need like a robotic hand that just slaps you in the face, like right over your head. And it's like, yeah.
When I had moved into a house in Pomona with a couple of my buddies, it's one of those things, new house, everybody, I think it was a lot of us, our first time living away from home, or a few of us, it was that case, but a few people in the house started like, oh man, like there's something up with this house. So I'm hearing all sorts of weird noises. Like my buddy Brandon was saying that, his girlfriend was saying that, Matt was saying that, his girlfriend was saying that. And then me and Chad were like, dude, we don't hear shit, and they're, so me, Brandon, Matt, and Chad were the people who were living there. We each had our own room. And like, but the other four people who were like, would be there, were swore they always heard shit or stuff was happening in the room. And me and Chad were like, dude, nothing. I haven't picked up on anything. So we started developing the theory that ghosts are afraid of masturbation.
Anything to jerk off.
Yeah, they went to haunt us, and we were just like, "Oh no, get the fuck out of here!"
Like the moment you're scared, you just gotta whip it out. Everything's gonna be okay now.
And the thing about it, there's never been a horror film where the dude's jerking off, and he gets poltergeisted. Right? Like,
scary movie.
I think if Michael Myers is chasing you, you just start rubbing one out. You're probably like, "Oh, dude, come on, man, I can't get that on my coveralls."
I'm imagining that scene now, and I'm pretty sure he'll just chop your dick off.
Oh god.
Although he might be taken aback for like a second, where he's like coming after you, and all of a sudden you just whip it out, and he's like, "What's happening?"
He develops some weird kink in that you can't finish unless you're getting like about to get murdered.
Oh shit.
God.
Just chase me with a damn knife. But why? Just do it.
Imagine what you could do if you're a lucid dreamer, how you could totally flip the script on Freddy Krueger in that sense.
Go into his dreams and masturbate in his dreams.
Yeah, just like he can't escape you now.
Freddy Krueger meets Inception.
Yeah.
Oh god.
But with the original story, I don't know. The weird part to me is that with the door and the light, like to me, that's the part where it's like they could see the light, like the door opening in a sense, somebody coming through. think that was the only part that like kind of hung me up, that it wasn't maybe sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
There might have been all the other stuff, like the sensation of feeling something on the bed. We there's a lot that could come to that, but
But
uh,
they moved their foot and they felt something solid, like something obstructed their foot going forward.
So it happens to
but,
me every
see,
night.
like yeah,
That,
like
that happens- fucking Nala and Atlas like, get the fuck off the bed. Trying to sleep.
again, like when I had that time where I wanted to elbow the person, I couldn't move, and I felt like something was holding me. Then all of a sudden, like I was able to.
Well, when
Uh,
there's I forgot the name for it, but when you're sleeping, your body actually makes you paralyzed so that you're not hurting yourself or anyone else around you. So you actually stops you from being able to do any body movements.
have you guys ever sleptwalked? Are you guys ever sleepwalkers?
No, but
Yes.
I'm always trying to like run in my dreams and I can't. I'm always like I always feel like I'm in Jello and I'm trying so hard to like either punch or like run and I just can't do it.
So when I was a kid, there was one time I was sleepwalking, and we used to have a live-in babysitter. And I guess I walked into her room and like just started rubbing her leg. So that's what I did one time, and then another time, I had woken up. I walked over to the neighbor's house, and they were watching a movie. So imagine you're sitting there watching a movie with the family, and all of a sudden, a 5 or 6 year old just walks in your front door, sits on the couch next to you, and starts eating popcorn.
He could smell
This
it
is why I
from.
don't live in the suburbs.
He can smell it from across the street. He's like, somebody's making popcorn.
You know, I did have an occurrence where I woke up when I was a kid. I woke up and my mom asked me like, "How am I feeling?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, you like I had like a bunk bed, and she said that I was trying to come down the bunk bed, and I like tripped and fell and like hurt myself, and they bandaged me up. And I don't remember any of this. And then I just went back to sleep, and I don't remember any of that.
Oh shit.
That's wild. What's your story, Julian? Then we'll close this out.
No, it was something similar to where I got up from the bed, walked to the living room. Nobody was there, and then I went into the kitchen, and my parents were there, and they were like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I just mumbled something, and then I went back into my room. And the next day, my mom was like, "Hey, like, why'd you wake up last night?" I was like, "What are you talking about? You came in, walked, talked to us, like in the kitchen." And then went back to bed. I was like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
So I used to, when I was a kid, my clothes was in my mom's room because they had a bigger wardrobe. And every time I would try to come in, and I would try to be as quiet as possible because my mom was a light sleeper. And the moment she would wake up, she would start like going off about how it's so cold outside and make sure that I put on a warm socks and everything. So one time, I came in and she woke up and her eyes were open. Like she was laying and her eyes were open. And she's like, "It's cold outside. Put on a frying pan." And I'm like, "What the hell?"
Put on a
So
frying
then
pan.
later, yeah, and I'm like, later,
Super Russian.
I'm like, I'm like, what are you talking about? So then I was like, why? I kept trying to talk to her. I'm like, why would I put on a frying pan? I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Did you hear what you just said? And then she's like, why are you waking me up? She's like, I'm trying to sleep. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Your eyes were wide open. You were talking to me. She's like, I don't remember any of that.
All right. Well, if you have a ghost story, we would like to hear it. Let us know if you've found another way of repelling ghosts. You know,
Or has it worked for you?
yeah.
Have you tried it? And if you haven't, go try it.
Hey, ghost free since the age of 12.
Yeah, thank you everybody. Like and subscribe to the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.
Take
Can't
care,
wait to
everybody.
hear what the next one will be.